Hey everyone, Jesse here with parkbench.com. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Regan Sample, real estate agent with St. Vrain Realty and sponsor and ambassador of a group of local community websites all about Longmont, Colorado. Hey Regan, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Yeah, you bet.
So why don't we start with, why did you first decide to become a real estate agent?
That's a great question. My whole life growing up, my parents were landlords, investing in property. It's something I sort of grew up doing. Then going through college, I leaned more towards financial, and I started a financial advising business after I got out of college. And I kind of felt like it was missing something there. And over those years, I always like the aspect of teaching people about things that are complicated, like retirement accounts, investment accounts, but also real estate can be complicated. It's not just buy property and make money sometimes. And I wanted to take those realms of knowledge and put it together and be able to help people with their biggest investments that they make, a process that can be complicated, and be able to take the time to help educate people.
Cool. And yeah, it's definitely a super complicated process. So I think that's really important. So
Absolutely.
obviously that's already some reasons about what makes you stand out, but what is it that really makes you stand out as a real estate agent?
I think, I'd say the things that people tell me, what they find different about me is taking the time to actually listen and again, taking the time to educate and not just rush through transactions. I built my business by building relationships and figuring out how I can add value and how I can help, and not just let's close some deals. And I think people notice that and it comes through. And at the end of the day, that it's all worth it at the end when you see someone getting their keys and they're off on their homeowner path.
I love it. That's great. Well, that leads right into my next question. Sounds like you've got a lot of heart in why you do what you do. So, do you have a memorable experience you could think of working with a client?
Yeah, absolutely. First thing that comes to mind when you say that was a former client of mine. She's a first-time home buyer. She had 3 little kiddos, and not only that, she was a new citizen, an immigrant from South Sudan,
Oh, wow.
and working with her in that first home buyer process, all the different programs available for down payment assistance and all that, and going through all those steps in that journey with her, and even had some bumps at the end of the process where we might not be able to close, and we had to push out our dates. And at the end of it, seeing her and her kiddos being able to get into their house, and about 2 weeks after they closed, her kiddos started to go to school where mine do. And I was volunteering at our school's fun run. And her oldest daughter stopped and told one of her classmates, like, that's the man that helped my mom buy her first house. So it's one of those right there where you just kind of know, like, at the end of the day, what you've done and the work that you've put in, you made a positive difference for somebody else. And it really makes it worth it.
Wow, I love that. That's so great. Definitely shows the impact of what you're doing on a regular basis. That's so cool. So, outside of real estate, what do you like to do for fun?
I've always done a lot of stuff, hanging out with my family. I've got 3 little boys. Not as little anymore. They're 13, 11, and will be 9 in a couple of weeks. But pre-COVID, I would spend a day in each of my kids' classrooms, and I'd help, work with kids on math or reading. Do a lot of volunteer. My kids' school or in the community for different nonprofits. Aside from that, just getting out into the outdoors in the area here. There's a lot of lakes, hike trails, and stuff like that, and just spending time with family, friends, and time outside.
That's so great. Well, it definitely sounds like you're very connected to your community. So, what is it you love most about living and working in Longmont?
So I grew up here, like nearby in the county. I grew up in Boulder. I've been in Longmont pretty much since '03. And I had a company in the middle there that moved me to Phoenix. And Phoenix, I didn't realize was like one of the top 5 largest cities in the US before I went there. But being in Longmont, then Phoenix, I was able to see how such a huge city seemed to have so little community feel and involvement. And I really missed that from where we were here, where so many people know each other, they support local businesses. There's different community events. There's festival on Main Street. There's the Christmas lights at Roosevelt Park, and just things like that that just make it feel a lot more where you want to live, where you raise a family, or even if you don't have a family, just places where you want to exist and a town to be a part of. There's the community that's there.
I love it. Well, the community involvement really ties into this next question. You've sponsored these local community websites that are all about shopping local, supporting small business. So, like, why is that something that's so important to you? Why is it so important that we all do support small business and shop local?
I that's a huge question. So, especially the way that we've been this last year or so with business, not able to get out and network or do the same kinds of things to support other people's business or grow our own. I felt like this is a great way to sort of incorporate what we have to do right now with COVID and technology in the future to bring awareness to local business and that sort of thing. But prior to this, I helped run a group called Longmont Cash Mob, to where it was just online. It was grassroots. We would go to different businesses that were local. We'd bring in a crowd of people and spend cash so they didn't have to spend, merchant service fees, and just
Whoa.
ways to showcase them and promote those local businesses. And people have asked me before. I've been an ambassador, the chair of the ambassadors for our local chamber of commerce, and they would ask, why is local important? And the biggest thing is that the shop local multiplier effect, keeping money in our community. It's the person's job down the street. It's paying for someone's dance lessons, that person's job, and then they pay for their kids' little league. And if it just bleeds out to other places, then you just see a town sort of dry up, and that community feel that I love so much here just would go away. So that's something that's really important to me. And I really strongly believe that the better we all do, the better we all do. And the more good that you put out, the more good there is that comes back to you at some point. So
Yeah, that's so great. Well, your community is blessed to have you. It definitely sounds like you are so much more than a real estate agent, which is really cool and truly community minded. So this has been great. It's been really cool getting to know you today, Regan.
yeah, thanks, Jesse.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Once again, this was Regan Sample, real estate agent with St. Vrain Realty. Be sure to check out his local community website at parkbench.com/Longmont, Colorado. And if you have a local business and you'd like to be featured, reach out to him today. Thanks for your time, Regan.
Hey, thank you. Have a great day.
You too.